Brought to you by...
After all of these years, with industry professionals cranking out horror films of the same basic varieties, sometimes we reach a point where it comes time for a bit of a change. I believe that we are on that precipice, and I think it's high time that we throw all caution to the fucking wind and explore some truly bizarre territory that only a few filmmakers have dared to try so far. After all of these years, with industry professionals cranking out horror films of the same basic varieties, sometimes we reach a point where it comes time for a bit of a change. I honestly believe that we are on that precipice, and I think it's high time that we throw all caution to the fucking wind and explore some truly bizarre territory that only a few filmmakers have dared to try so far. Hello friends, and welcome back to Double Feature Friday. This week, the only things connecting the two films are their setting, both of which playing on Airbnb culture. I will be the first to admit that I don't find myself watching a ton of new films that actually dare to try something different with the material. Much of what I watch day in and day out winds up just being more of the same. It isn't until someone like Kevin Smith steps into the genre and throws us a bone like Tusk that I truly find something unique and worth talking about. Today, a new filmmaker throws his hat into that similar arena. In town for a job interview, a young woman arrives at her Airbnb rental late at night, only to find that the house has been mistakenly double booked and a strange man is already staying there. Against her better judgment, she decides to stay the night anyway, but soon discovers that there is much more to be afraid of in the house than the other house guest. Right from the opening frames of this film, it is clear that the aim is to set an ominous and foreboding tone. Kicking off on a dark and stormy night at an isolated Airbnb on a pitch-black street, we are set firmly into an atmosphere of dread, clouded by an air of mystery. Who is this young woman that we are being introduced to? Why is she here? Where is she? These questions and more beg for answers, all in the first few minutes. We are then introduced to two characters that we know nothing about, and learn very little during these early moments, other than our female protagonist is avoiding someone, likely an ex-boyfriend or possibly a husband. The early moments of the film follow that stereotype, where everything points to the fact that our protagonist should get the fuck out of Dodge immediately, but she doesn't. These are the first thoughts that you begin to have as the film starts to take shape before your eyes. As each new element of the situation begins to present itself, warning sirens begin sounding in your mind, making you beg to know why the fuck this chick hasn't hopped back into her rental and run screaming to the fucking hills. The reveal as Tess leaves the house, finding that the neighborhood that this Airbnb is situated in is a run-down street. Each and every other fucking house has been left abandoned or vandalized, except for this one. How do you not fuck right off then and there? The film very much plays on that mysterious element of Airbnb culture, and the idea of discovering things within another person's home that you are never meant to see. We have all heard these stories, whether it be from family members, friends, or even some dark corner of the internet. An example that I can cite is a story I heard once that a friend rented an Airbnb with a bunch of his friends, and while exploring the place on the first night, they found a room in the basement that had a TV and a light on, and there was just a man in there. Someone they didn't know. Now, they had never been told about anyone else renting the place by the owners. Needless to say, when they spoke to the owners, they voiced their concerns, and the owner ended up treating them like they did something wrong. The way this film is presented is chilling from the very beginning. It presents us with these elements that we know very little about, in a sense immediately creating a mystery. It then begins to explore these elements each step of the way, building on that mystery and exploring some extreme territory that you likely will not expect it to go, all while building this growing atmosphere of unease and discomfort. It takes its time to focus on cautious acts, such as each time the protagonist locks a door or hesitates in action. For me, this felt very realistic of a choice, as many of us would have the moments of self-preservation, holding us back from taking immediate action. And we all would question the good of another person, and take small steps to feel just a little bit safer in unfamiliar territory. Another element that this film explores come in the form of allegations against Justin Long's character AJ. This film makes a bold move in having him portray a character that is coming under fire of allegations of sexual misconduct, which reflect the very reality of the Me Too movement that was happening right at the same time this movie came out. This is a highly touchy subject to even dabble with so soon after its media frenzy. Yet, I also love that this film doesn't make this situation completely serious, by using the AJ character to add some brevity to this otherwise extremely dark concept. By exploring his utter stupidity to its depths, Bill Skarsgård's performance in this one is so different than the parts that I'm used to seeing him in. Here he feels like such an average Joe, and they even go as far as to poke fun at his past by having him deliver a line asking if he looks like some sort of monster, given that he played the latest incarnation of Stephen King's Pennywise. Richard Brake also shows up here in a pivotal role that I wasn't expecting, and he always sort of steals the show for me. And our protagonist Tess is brought to life by Georgina Campbell, who creates a character that you sort of yearn to learn more about. She portrays her with incredible emotion, and over the course of the story, we never really learn too much about her. We know that she works in documentary production, and that she is in town for an interview, but we only get hints about aspects of her life. She plays this character as extremely timid and acutely aware of her surroundings. We visually see her taking notice of the neighborhood surrounding the Airbnb, as well as the house itself, but she doesn't take action when the red flags are presented to her. The film's visual style is dark and atmospheric. It is often presented in low light, which creates a sense of claustrophobia and unease. The film's use of color is also striking. The palette is mostly dark and muted, with occasional pops of color that serve to highlight the film's more disturbing moments. However, it gets even more interesting as the film begins to shift into flashbacks. The camera style transitions to bold, wide lens framing, with all of the vibrant colors of the 1980s version of the setting. The screen aspect ratio even shifts from today's widescreen to an older standard ratio during these moments. The film's tone is suspenseful and unsettling. It builds tension slowly and gradually, until the audience is on the edge of their seats. This tone is also dark and disturbing, and it deals with themes of violence, trauma, and fear. Now, let's talk a little bit about Mother. The presentation of this character is horrific, to say the least. She has long, matted hair. Her eyes are wild and unfocused. She is clearly mentally unstable, and she seems to be obsessed with the idea of having a baby, or at the very least, caring for one. Mother is the monster of the film. However, not the worst one that exists in its labyrinth of frames. She is the product of generations of incest, rape, and forced birth. She was raised in the most wretched and abusive conditions imaginable. She is a victim of trauma, but she also is a danger to others, and we can assume to herself. She is a product of her environment, but she is also a monster in her own right. We are delivered the information about Mother by the homeless character Andre, who mentions that she is the result of several generations worth of incest, with Richard Brake's Frank kidnapping and raping his victims, then doing the same to their daughters, which are also his own. Mother is a powerful and disturbing image. She represents a dark side of humanity, the capacity for violence and cruelty that lurks within all of us. She is a reminder that even the most innocent-looking people can be capable of great evil. However, she is also a sympathetic figure. She is a victim of abuse and neglect. She's been denied the love and care that she needs. She's a creature of instinct, driven by her need for survival and her desire for love. She's a tragic figure, a victim of circumstance that has become a monster. I think the aim here was to shed light on the idea that the true monster of the story is not Mother, or even Frank, but the cruelty of humanity itself. As expressed through AJ's character, everyone is capable of unspeakable acts, both physically and through neglect of responsibility for their own actions. In a lot of ways, I think you could look at the house itself as a representation of this very idea. A quiet, seemingly innocent structure to the eye, but that holds a darkness and propensity for violence and cruelty masked below the surface. The film explores its horrors in one of the most uniquely visual ways that I think I've ever seen. The camera work evolves over the course of the film, becoming increasingly more dynamic as we shift in and out of flashbacks, moving from a traditional horror visual style into vibrant color, wide-angle lenses, and it just keeps taking twists and fucking turns, altering its look and feel to send you as the viewer into a mind-altering tailspin. I think this element may be the most terrifying thing about the film. It has this sense of unease and misdirection. You never really know where it's going next, and what the fuck direction it's ultimately going to take, which in turn makes for an unpredictable experience. This is a film that takes risks, and as a result, is probably one of the most original projects to come out of the Hollywood system in recent years. While it maintains some of the elements that we've come to expect from a traditional modern horror, it also takes us into some very new areas of depravity that you likely won't expect it to go. Because of this decision, I have to recommend checking out this film when you can. It's sure to be a memorable one. Managing the overwhelming number of streaming services that we all subscribe to can be a nightmare, making us wish for some sort of one-stop destination for all of our movies, TV shows, and music. Well, thankfully, Plex has the answer, bringing together free ad-supported movies, shows, and live TV with the power to search and add to your watch list any title ever made, no matter which streaming service it's on. Plex keeps everything in one place, even for theater releases. Discover more and search faster by customizing your experience. Add friends, share thoughts, and find your next binge-worthy title. Track your favorite actors with Discover credits. See all their movies and shows in one place. Stream your own movies, TV shows, music, and photos anywhere on any device. And best of all, Plex is a free streaming app for everyone, supported by ads that help bring you content from partners like Lionsgate, AMC, and even A24. Stream instantly from your computer, phone, tablet, game console, smart TV, or streaming media player. While you don't need an account to use Plex, signing up does give you extra benefits, such as your own universal watch list, the ability to customize search results, seamlessly watching across all devices, and more. And if you want to unlock even more incredible features, consider joining Plex Pass, Plex's premium subscription, which gives power users advanced features for managing personal media libraries. Just follow the link down in the description today to join more than 17 million users worldwide who trust Plex as their entertainment concierge, helping them discover, organize, and enjoy the best content across all of their favorite platforms. Stop scrolling, start streaming, get Plex. Next up, we continue our Airbnb horror experience with The Rental, a psychological horror thriller directed by Dave Franco in his feature debut. The film follows two couples, Charlie and Michelle, along with Charlie's brother Josh and his girlfriend Mina, who rent a secluded vacation house for a weekend getaway. However, their trip quickly takes a dark turn, as hidden surveillance, paranoia, and buried secrets unravel their relationships, leading to a violent conclusion. Franco has stated that his inspirations for the film came from his personal fears of home-sharing services like Airbnb, particularly the idea that homeowners could, in theory, secretly watch guests. He was also inspired by a desire to make a horror film grounded in realism, where the character's personal mistakes and paranoia contribute to their downfall as much as the external threat. And slow-burn psychological horror influences, particularly films like The Strangers and Hereditary, which emphasize dread over jump scares. Franco encouraged improvisation among the cast, a technique influenced by Swanberg's filmmaking style, making the conversations feel more natural and personal. The discovery of hidden cameras in the vacation home raises unsettling questions about how much of our private lives may be exposed without our knowledge. The film exploits a real-world fear. In the age of Airbnb and short-term rentals, the possibility of hidden surveillance is a legitimate concern. The killer's method, placing cameras in intimate spaces, turns an everyday scenario into a nightmare. The violation isn't just physical, but psychological, and it turns normal behavior into a vulnerability. Mina's discovery of the cameras isn't empowering. It leads to further entrapment, as the fear of exposure forces her into secrecy, preventing her from seeking help. Ultimately, the rental suggests that the modern world has eroded true privacy, not just through physical surveillance, but through the fear of being watched, recorded, and judged. Much of the film's external tension isn't driven by the looming presence of an external killer, but by the self-destructive actions of its characters. Charlie and Mina's infidelity acts as the film's primary moral failing, and rather than facing the consequences, they spiral into deceit and paranoia. Their fear of being exposed leads to self-sabotaging decisions. They withhold information, lie to their partners, and ultimately place themselves in greater danger. This reflects a larger theme, how our personal failings often make us complicit in our own downfall. The killer may be the external threat, but the couple's inability to confront their own mistakes weakens their ability to protect themselves. The film suggests that our worst impulses, dishonesty, cowardice, self-preservation, are often more dangerous than any external threat we fear. Even before the horror unfolds, Franco establishes tension within the group, particularly between the brothers and their respective partners. Trust, or the lack thereof, plays a crucial role in the film's emotional stakes. Josh is insecure. His relationship with Mina is built on a foundation of doubt. He views himself as inferior to Charlie, which makes it easier for him to believe that Mina would betray him. Michelle misplaces her faith. As the only truly innocent character, Michelle isn't initially willing to believe in Charlie's ability to be unfaithful, even when presented with past actions. She tries to believe in Charlie's fidelity, but the audience knows that she's being deceived. Her trust ultimately leads to her downfall. This dynamic underscores the fragility of human relationships. Trust is easily shattered, and once doubt enters the mind, it creates a psychological divide that characters struggle to cross. Unlike traditional slasher films, the rental's antagonist lacks any identity, motivation, or personal connection to the victims. His autonomy makes the horror even more unsettling, because he could be anyone. The film presents violence as random, impersonal, and unstoppable, a stark contrast to typical revenge-driven horror narratives. The killer does not act out of revenge or personal vendetta. He is simply part of an ongoing, methodical cycle. He cleans up, moves to another rental, and repeats the process, reinforcing a bleak, nihilistic worldview. By refusing to provide a backstory or justification for the murders, the rental suggests that horror doesn't always have explanation. Sometimes bad things happen simply because they can. The Rental is more than just a home invasion horror film. It's a meditation on modern anxieties, the erosion of privacy, the weight of guilt, the instability of trust, and the existential dread of random violence. Dave Franco uses a restrained, tension-building approach to highlight how our internal fears of being exposed or betrayed can be just as terrifying as any masked killer. While the film doesn't offer easy answers, its theme lingers, reinforcing the idea that the real horror isn't just what watches us from the shadows, but what we do to ourselves when we think no one is watching. That's going to be all for now. If you're interested in this film, I urge you to check it out for yourself and formulate your own thoughts and opinions about it. I hope you come share those thoughts in the comments. Let me know if there are any movies that you would like to see discussed on this channel. I always love to hear from you guys, and I do my best to try and respond to everyone. As always, I have put a link down in the description to a physical copy of the film, if one exists, so that you can add it to your collection. Using that link helps out the channel, and that is always appreciated. Furthermore, if you like the video, I urge you to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you aren't already. I know many of you watching aren't yet subscribed, so help support the channel. Subscribe. If you'd like to go the extra mile and support the channel even more, we do have a Patreon. And if you sign up for our Rated R tier level, you can get yourself access to the ETF Digital Archive. We get a lot of compliments about the VHS collection that you guys see in the background of almost all of our videos. Well, we have been hard at work slowly digitizing that collection and creating a place where we can share it with all of you. Thanks to the help of the Plex platform, one of this channel's sponsors, we can now do just that. This is our way of doing our part to help preserve that gritty, nostalgic VHS look and feeling before it's gone forever. So as a special thank you for becoming a Rated R tier member, you will be added to our ETF Archive Plex server, so that you can stream our VHS collection from anywhere at any time. It's basically like having a streaming service for VHS, which I think is pretty cool. We also have a Mercari store, where you can go and get yourself a little piece of the ETF archive. While collecting VHS, Blu-rays, and DVDs over many years, we wind up with lots of duplicates, and we unfortunately can't store them all. So on our Mercari shop, we have those for sale. Purchasing those not only expands your collection, but makes room for us to expand ours. All the links for everything are down in the description. Until next time, stay safe, and as always, thanks for watching.